So now that we understand that, how do we use essential oils? So there's 4 main ways to use essential oils effectively. The first is inhaled, the second is topical, the third is internal, and the fourth is environmental. So first up is inhaled, and this is probably the best place to start if you've never used essential oils, or you're worried about doing it wrong, or you just want a really easy, effective practice, a really safe, easy, effective practice. One of the main ways to do this is through aromatic diffusion. So you can see here on the left, this is a picture of a diffuser. So what this is you fill this little vestibule with water, and you put, depending on the brand, the purer the oil, the less drops you have to use. So let's assume you're using a very pure oil because that's going to be the most therapeutic. 3 or 4 drops of your oil in this should be enough. It's going to almost nebulize the oil into this cool mist. That's going to then, you can see this smoky mist here. That's going to cover quite a large room actually. So you can fill your room with scent. It's very important that you use a diffuser designed for essential oil use. Like, I know this looks like a humidifier, but a humidifier does not effectively nebulize the oil for therapeutic purposes. It's also important not to use a candle burner. Never burn your essential oils because you're going to burn off the aromatic compounds before they ever have a chance to work in your body. So yeah, aromatic diffusion is really powerful just if you want to enjoy scent, if you want to get rid of those toxic candles, get rid of that toxic air freshener, but you can also use this therapeutically. So when I'm feeling sick or I'm congested in the lungs, I will put this on with some eucalyptus or some peppermint and breathe that in and really open up my lungs that way. Another way to do that is the steam inhalation route. So this is quite a common way to use essential oils therapeutically. And this is, you would do this if you were sick. So I think the most common way is if you're congested, you have a sore throat, your lungs are all blocked up, and you really just want to open things up so you can breathe and relax. So what you would do is you would fill a bowl like this with boiling water, or you could even use the pot that the water was boiling in. You get a towel, and you put your face over it, being very careful not to burn your skin, and then put a towel or a sheet over your head to trap the steam and just breathe it in. So in this case, again, especially if you're using pure oils, start with only 3 or 4 drops. If you need more, you can always add more. So always err on the side of too little essential oils just because they're so potent. The third route is direct inhalation. So this could be either by just smelling the bottle of essential oil. And I know it looks like this girl's praying right here, but what I'm trying to show here is that you could just put a drop on your hand, rub your hands together, and then deeply inhale and like almost cause that tenting effect like the sheet and the bowl right in your hands. That's a very effective way to get the aromatic inhaled effects of essential oils. If you're out and about and you can't carry your diffuser with you, just smelling the bottle should be enough. Inhalation is a very safe way to use essential oils. So I always recommend people just start here and you can't really go wrong. The second way that we talked about is topical use. So this is how you're going to get those systemic effects of the essential oils. And there's a few ways to do this. So you can massage the oils directly onto the body. So you can massage them over the area of interest. So like your stomach if you have a stomach ache, or your chest if you have a lung infection. You can also put them on the bottom of your feet if you're just feeling kind of crappy and you want to get like a systemic effect. The feet is a safe place to put them, especially in children, because it's away from their face, it's away from their mouth and their eyes, and they're probably not going to be touching their feet. So when I just feel like I need some kind of internal support, I will rub some coconut oil on my feet with essential oils and just let it absorb that way. If you're trained in acupuncture or you're familiar with acupressure, you can massage essential oils directly over acupuncture points. You can use a hot or cold compress. You can use a salt bath. It's very important that you don't put oils directly in the bath. So I love taking a relaxing bath using essential oils. So I'll put some Epsom salts in the bath to relax my muscles, but you shouldn't put the oils directly in the water or directly on the salt, because it doesn't disperse them properly in the water. And you don't want the oils to stick to your skin because it can cause irritations and sensitivities. So what I do is I just take half a cup of coconut oil, melt it, or I use fractionated coconut oil, which is a form of coconut oil with the lipid layer taken off. I put maybe 2 or 3 drops of essential oils in that, and then I put that in my salt bath. And I think this is also a really powerful way to use essential oils to clean up your personal care routine. So you can make your own products really easily using essential oils and things like shea butter and cocoa butter. You can also make your own perfumes. So this becomes a really powerful way to clean up your life and detox those toxic synthetic chemicals from your life in a topical, using essential oils topically. What I'd love to point out here, and I really can't emphasize this enough, is the importance of using a carrier oil when you are using essential oils on your skin. So it gets a little bit confusing, all the oil words, but what I mean by carrier oil is some kind of vegetable or plant-based oil, something that you'd make a cream with or you cook with. These are used to dilute the essential oils in order to minimize the risk of sensitivity. So as I said, just because something's natural doesn't mean it's safe. And essential oils are very, very, very potent. So even though it's this beautiful plant medicine, if you put it on your skin without any kind of dilution, your body is going to be like, whoa, what are you doing to me, right? And with some oils, it's more important than others, but you're not going to hurt yourself. What's the point of taking a risk? I've seen cases where someone has used oil on their skin 100 times, let's say lavender oil, which is very safe, and then on the 101st time have a reaction, and it really impacts their quality of life, and they often can't use lavender oil anymore after that. So that could have totally been avoided if they diluted the essential oil. You can always work your way up to using it straight on your skin if that calls to you, if you choose to do that, but always start diluting to minimize the risk of sensitivity. And we'll get to that in the safety section, exactly how to dilute. This has a couple of bonus effects in that it's going to disperse the essential oil over a greater area of your body. It's going to help you use less oil overall, which is going to save you money in the end. And it's going to prolong the aromatic effect of the essential oil, which I think is really cool. So if you are using a pure essential oil, 100% pure essential oil, the smell should actually not last very long. So if I opened up this bottle and took a drop of peppermint out, that peppermint smell should vanish quite quickly because this is a pure oil. And sometimes we want the aromatic effect to linger, right? Let's say we're using eucalyptus oil in our chest to help with some kind of respiratory issue. And we want to be breathing that in as well to open things up that way. We want the smell to linger, or we want it to not disappear in 10 minutes because that doesn't help us therapeutically. Or if you're making a perfume, you don't want your perfume to disappear in 20 minutes. You want it to last for a few hours. So kind of trapping these volatile compounds in the coconut oil or olive oil or jojoba oil or whatever oil that you're using will really help prolong the aromatic effect of the oil. Oh, we're getting to dilution already. Okay, so yes. So I often get asked, well, okay, I'll dilute, no problem. How do I know how many drops of oil to use for how much coconut oil? And I'm just going to say coconut oil because that's what I personally use. So the general rule of thumb is I would use a 3% dilution if I really want to treat something therapeutically and acutely. So if I had an infection or if I was feeling a cut or something like that. But if I'm just using them every day, a 1% to 2% dilution should be enough to get the effect. And again, I know it's hard to imagine how one tiny drop of something can be enough, but again, always err on the side of using too little and then working your way up than using too much. So a 1% dilution is 1 drop in 5 mils of coconut oil, and that's 1 teaspoon. 2% would be 3 drops in 1 teaspoon. And you can kind of use this chart to calculate it for yourself, how you want to use it. We definitely want to use less with kids and frail people, as well as the elderly. And there's a few situations we're going to get to, and we'll definitely discuss that more in the safety section. But here's a reference chart for you. This is how I dilute and how I recommend diluting. Less is always more. And just to drive home the point that kids aren't adults, kids are very responsive and sensitive to essential oils. I often recommend just start with diffusing. The inhaled effect is often enough for children, but it definitely is safe and effective to also use them topically. So if you were going to use them topically in your children, here is the guidance for that. A really effective way to get a really effective, clean way to use essential oils topically is through roller bottles. So these are bottles that have a metal or a glass ball on top. And what you do is you fill the bottle with however much carrier oil you're going to be using. So these bottles here are 5 mils. So I'd fill that with 5 mils of coconut oil, and then just drip let's say I'm making a 2% dilution, I would drip, what did we say? 3 drops of essential oil in there. And then I put the lid on, shake it up, and I can roll it right on my skin. So this is really effective if you're making perfume, or if you get headaches and you want to carry something really handy in your purse and you don't want to be slathering like a bucket of coconut oil with your hands all over your face. So it reduces mess, it increases compliance. Just make sure that you get amber or blue bottles versus a clear bottle, because oils are sensitive and they don't like UV light. And make sure that you get bottles that have glass or metal balls on top, just because plastic and oils don't mix very well together. And store them in a cool, dry place. And you can buy these off Amazon, you can buy them on the internet. Any aromatherapy supply shop will have these. I buy them in bulk. It's really easy and really fun to start making your own roller bottles. So back to use. So the third way to use essential oils is internally. And this is very controversial. You can get sucked down a giant rabbit hole on the internet about if it's safe or if it's not safe, and if it's recommended and if it's not recommended. And at the end of the day, certain oils have a long history of culinary use, meaning that we've been ingesting them for a long time. So oregano, rosemary, peppermint, cinnamon, to name a few. And there seems to be 3 trains of thought on this if you get into the crux of it. There's a school of thought that you should never, ever, ever use essential oils internally, and that's just because they're so strong and we don't know what they're doing. There's not enough clinical research. The opposite end of the spectrum, the second school of thought, is that it's totally safe, it's totally fine. We've been eating them in food for years. There's definitely therapeutic effects. I'm using them no problem, and I am not sick, and I'm not getting sick from it. The third school of thought is that you should only do it if you are under the supervision of a certified aromatherapist. And my issue with this is that in many jurisdictions, there's not a consensus or a governing board for aromatherapy. So pretty much anyone can call themselves an aromatherapist. Anyone can go out and take a course. Some schools are definitely better than others, but how do you know? How does the average person know who is good and who isn't? So my advice when it comes to internal use is just make sure you trust the brand that you're using. Is it pure? What's the quality? How are they proving that? How do you know what you're ingesting is pure 100% essential oil? It really does come down to personal choice and expert guidance. So making sure you trust the person who's advising you, not just on their word, but on evidence and studies and prescriptions that they're showing you. So I'm not going to advise on how to use essential oils internally because, as I said, it is a controversial topic, but know that it's an option and know that some people are doing it and getting amazing effects therapeutically from it. And the fourth and final way to use essential oils, and another way that, maybe you're just here because you really want to clean up your life. You don't really care that lavender can heal burns. You want to use them environmentally to clean up your products. So I think this picture on the left here might be kind of indicative of what many Western households look like. We have a cleaner for everything, right? We have, window cleaner and surface cleaner and toilet cleaner and tile cleaner and thousands of chemicals. I'm sure if we all emptied out our kitchen sink and our bathroom cupboards and added up how many chemicals we're using every day, we would all be really scared. And we talked about at the beginning of this class that it's really empowering when you recognize that and you recognize that there's other options, and you can really, really, really clean up the number of chemicals in your home and make it a safe space for you and your family. So lemon. Lemon is super cleansing. Lemon essential oil has a component called limonene in it, which is incredibly cleansing. And lemon, vinegar, baking soda, you would be amazed at how well that will clean stuff and replace all of the stuff on the left-hand side. So a lot of people are getting into oils just for the environmental reasons, to clean up their chemicals, clean up their beauty products, and it's a really empowering way to use them.